You wake up one morning, it's raining, not unusual, just one of those boring gray days, the kind where you don't feel like doing anything. So you grab your phone, maybe scroll a bit, maybe plan to just stay inside all day, and then the power goes out. Of course it does, because Earth weather. Honestly, it's kind of weak. A little rain, a bit of wind, maybe a storm if things get dramatic, but compared to the rest of the solar system, this planet is playing on easy mode. So let's fix that. Let's do something a little crazy. What if just for one day Earth didn't have Earth weather anymore? What if every planet in our solar system decided to send their weather here at the exact same time? Yeah, that would be a problem. A very big problem. Let's start with the closest one, Mercury. Now Mercury doesn't even have proper weather like we do. No clouds, no rain, no storms. Just a dead, rocky surface sitting way too close to the Sunday. But here's the thing most people don't know. Mercury has something way worse. Magnetic storms. Invisible ones. Imagine giant waves of energy twisting, snapping, crashing into the surface. Not wind, not air, just pure solar energy hitting the planet at insane speeds. Now imagine that on Earth, let's say you're standing outside, everything looks normal for a second. And then suddenly your phone loses signal. Your GPS stops working. Every satellite above you starts glitching. Because those magnetic storms, they don't just stay in space. They slam into Earth's magnetic field. Except this time, Earth can't handle it. Compasses spin like they've lost their minds. Power grids overload. Lights flicker. And then explode, not slowly, instantly. Entire cities go dark in seconds. Planes lose navigation. Satellites begin falling out of orbit like broken toys. And the worst part, you can't even see what's causing it. No clouds. No warning, just invisible chaos. And that's only the beginning, because while Mercury is busy frying everything electrical, Venus is about to make things much, much worse. Now Venus looks like Earth's twin from far away. Same size, samey shape. But that's where the similarities end, because Venus is basically what happens when a planet goes completely out of control. The surface temperature, hot enough to melt metal, the air pressure, so heavy it feels like being deep underwater, and the clouds, they're not made of water, they're made of acid. Yeah, acid. Now imagine that drifting over Earth, the sky slowly changes color from blue to yellow to something that just doesn't feel right. People look up confused, and then it starts to rain. At first, it looks normal. Just droplets falling from the sky, but the moment it touches anything, you know something is very wrong. Paint starts peeling off buildings, metal begins to react, plants shrivel up in seconds. And if it touches your skin, you don't wait around to find out what happens next. Because it burns, fast, and it doesn't stop. Rivers begin to change. Water turns dangerous, streets become empty almost instantly. Everyone runs for cover, but there is no safe place. Because the air itself is getting heavier. Breathing becomes harder. Every step feels slower. Like the planet itself is pressing down on you. Windows crack. Not from wind, from pressure. Buildings begin to strain under the weight of the atmosphere, and then the temperature rises quickly, too quickly. Things that survive the acid start to melt instead. Roads soften, plastic bends, even metal doesn't hold its shape for long, and just when you think it can't get worse, the wind starts. Not normal wind. Not even storm wind, this is something else. It doesn't just blow, it pushes hard, constant. Like the entire atmosphere decided to move at once, and there's nowhere to hide from it. Now take a second, because that's just 2 planets. 2 and Earth is already falling apart, but we're not done, not even close. Because next Mars joins the party. And Mars doesn't bring fire or acid. It brings something much quieter, much slower, but just as deadly dust. Not normal dust. Not the kind you clean off your table. This dust gets everywhere. Into your eyes, your machines. And once it's there, it doesn't leave. The sky begins to fade. Turning from blue to orange to a thick choking brown, the Sunday disappears. Not because it's set, but because something is blocking it. A storm, a massive one, stretching across entire continents and growing. Every hour, the wind carries fine particles through the air. You breathe in and immediately regret it. Because it's not just dust anymore, it's a cloud you can't escape. Solar panels stop working, no sunlight, no energy. Plants begin to die, slowly at first. Then all at once, and somewhere inside that storm, something moves tall. Spinning dust devils, but not the small ones you see on Earth. These are huge. Towering walls of spinning dust, scraping across everything in their path. Buildings, cars, anything standing doesn't stay that way for long. And above all of this, the sky stays dark. Day after day, no light, no warmth, just endless dust. And silence. Earth was never meant for this. And honestly, we're just getting started. At this point, you can barely see the sky. The air feels heavy. The ground doesn't feel safe anymore. And everything you thought you understood about weather is gone. But somehow, it still gets worse. Because now Jupiter arrives, and Jupiter doesn't do small. It doesn't do normal. Jupiter is chaos. Pure, endless chaos. See, Jupiter has a storm, a single storm that has been raging for hundreds of years. Non-stop, no breaks, no calm, just constant destruction. And the craziest part, it's bigger than Earth. Yay, one storm, larger than the entire planet you're standing on. Now imagine that dropping onto Earth. The sky above you begins to twist. Clouds don't just move, they rotate faster and faster until the entire sky becomes a spinning wall. Winds start building, not strong, not extreme. At first, just enough to make you uneasy. Then it hits. The wind doesn't push you, it throws you. Cars slide across streets like they weigh nothing. Trees rip out of the ground like they were never rooted. Buildings begin to shake, then break. And the storm keeps growing, because this isn't just one hurricane. Jupiter's entire atmosphere is storms, layer after layer, moving in different directions, crashing into each other, feeding each other. Now Earth has all of that. At once lightning flashes across the sky, but this isn't normal lightning. Each strike is massive, blinding, and powerful enough to destroy everything it touches. The ground burns, the air crackles, and the sound is constant. No silence, no pause, just endless thunder. And then something starts falling from the sky. At first you think it's hail, but it's heavier, stronger. It hits the ground with a force that feels wrong because it's not ice, it's thick, slushy, almost solid, and it keeps falling, covering everything, breaking everything. You try to move, but the wind doesn't let you. It pulls, it drags, it decides where you go now. And honestly, it doesn't care if you survive. At this point, Earth doesn't feel like Earth anymore. It feels like something else. Something hostile, but somehow we're still not done because Saturn is next. And Saturn looks calm. From far away, it seems peaceful, almost beautiful, soft colors. Those iconic rings, it doesn't look dangerous, but that's the trick. Saturn hides its chaos deep inside. At its North Pole, there's something strange, a storm perfectly shaped, a hexagon. Yeah, a six-sided storm, massive, precise, and it doesn't move, it just stays there, spinning forever. Now imagine that forming over Earth's pole, the entire planet's weather starts to change, jet streams shift, air currents collapse, everything that controls climate breaks. Seasons stop making sense. Hot places turn cold, cold places turn unpredictable. Nothing follows the old rules anymore, and then another storm begins. Deep in the atmosphere, slow at first, then faster, then unstoppable. It spreads across the planet, wrapping around Earth like a belt, one massive storm encircling everything. You can't escape it because it's everywhere, and just when you think, okay, this is the limit, the sky does something strange, tiny flashes falling from above, shining beautiful for a second. It almost looks peaceful, like something magical is happening. But then it hits the ground hard, sharp, fast. And you realize toes aren't harmless. They cut, they break. They don't just land, they destroy everything they touch. The ground gets torn apart. Surfaces get shredded, nothing stays intact, and that beautiful moment gone instantly. Replaced by pure chaos again. Now think about this. Mercury destroyed your technology. Venus melted your world. Mars buried everything in dust. Jupiter tore the sky apart. Saturn rewrote the rules of the planet. And somehow you're still here, still watching, still trying to understand what's happening. But now, the final planets are coming. And they don't just bring storms. They bring extremes that don't even feel real. Take a breath, because what comes next doesn't follow any rules at all. At this point, you don't even recognize Earth anymore. The sky is broken, the air feels wrong, and the ground, it doesn't feel safe to stand on. But somehow there's still more coming. Because now, the ice giants arrive, Uranus and Neptune. The planets nobody really talks about. Quiet, distant, but absolutely insane. Let's start with Uranus. This planet doesn't spin like Earth, it's tilted, completely sideways, which means for years at a time one side of the planet is in total darkness. Not night, not evening, just darkness for decades. Now imagine that happening on Earth. Half the planet just loses the Sunday, no sunrise, no daylight. Nothing, cities fall into shadow, temperatures drop slowly at first, then faster, colder and colder, until the air itself starts to hurt. People look up, but there's nothing to see. Just an endless black sky, and then the wind begins. Not a storm, not a hurricane, something worse, the kind of wind that doesn't just blow past you, it tears through everything. Roofs rip off, buildings crack, objects get thrown across entire streets like they're nothing. You try to stay standing, but the air itself won't let you. It pushes. Hard, constant, like the planet is trying to throw you away. And then something strange starts falling. Tiny, bright, almost beautiful. For a second, it looks harmless. But it's not. Because it hits fast, sharp, relentless. And it doesn't stop. Everything gets cut. Everything gets broken. Even the strongest materials don't last long. And just when you think this is the worst it can get, Neptune shows up, and Neptune doesn't hold back. This planet has the fastest winds in the entire solar system. Not fast like a storm, not even close. These winds are insane, faster than anything you've ever experienced. Now imagine that on Earth, the ocean reacts first. Waves begin to rise higher and higher and higher until they don't even look like waves anymore. They look like walls. Moving walls of water. The coastlines disappear. Entire cities vanish under the force. And the wind, it doesn't just move the water, it moves everything. Cars, buildings, pieces of the ground itself. Nothing stays where it belongs anymore. The planet starts to feel unstable, like it's coming apart. And then above all of that, something massive appears, a storm. So big it covers entire regions of the planet. Dark, silent, unpredictable, and just as suddenly as it forms, it's gone, like it was never there, leaving behind nothing but destruction. At this point, Earth is barely holding together. Every planet has left its mark, every system has failed, every rule is broken, but there's one thing left. The source of it all, the Sunday. Because everything you've seen so far, every storm, every extreme, every disaster comes from it. And now it's Earth's turn to face it directly. The sky flashes. Bright, too bright. You can't even look at it, because something just erupted from the Sunday, a massive wave of energy racing toward Earth. Fast. There's no time to react, no time to prepare. It hits instantly. The entire sky lights up, power grids fail everywhere. Not just cities, the entire planet. Satellites stop working, communication disappears, everything connected is gone. And then the atmosphere reacts. Auroras spread across the sky. But not like the ones you've seen before. These are everywhere, covering the entire planet, bright, beautiful, and completely terrifying. Because behind that beauty, there's destruction. Electronics burn out, systems collapse, anything powered doesn't survive. And for a moment, everything goes quiet. No lights, no signals, no movement, just silence. You stand there, or at least you try to, because the world around you is no longer stable, no longer predictable, no longer Earth. And then just like that, it's over. The storms fade, the sky clears, the wind stops, and the planet slowly begins to settle. You look around trying to understand what just happened. But there's nothing familiar left, because Earth was never meant to handle that kind of chaos. It was never designed for it. And honestly, that's a good thing, because if even one of those planets sent their weather here for real, this wouldn't just be a bad day, it would be the last one. So next time it rains, or the wind gets a little too strong, maybe don't complain, because compared to the rest of the solar system, Earth is doing just fine.